Hello and welcome back to the nest once again. Well, today's efforts, we're going to be replacing this hinge mounting plate. We've got our new one here ready to weld in once we've removed it. But the first thing we need to do is to make sure that these holes for the door hinges are in exactly the same place. So we need to take our jig, which we've previously made. So we need to take our previously made jig with a little gentle persuasion, drop that back into position, and we're going to put a couple of little tack welds on the back just to make sure it doesn't move, and when we put the new piece in, everything lines up and the door closes properly and all the gaps are correct. So let's crack on.
Unfortunately we lost a bit of footage. So what we're doing here is we're cutting off the step, and we're starting by cutting through the top of the A-pillar. Because we've done other panels, all these spot welds are already drilled out. So we're just going to cut through the step here and continue right down through this one. And once we've cut this bit, it should just fall off. And it did.
Now we've got the old bit out, we've got the new hinge plate bolted in onto the door hinge jig that we've made. Now normally this piece isn't welded along this edge where it meets the inner pillar panel here. So we're going to mark along the edge, we're going to drill a couple of small holes from the inside, and we're going to weld it solid from the inside just to reduce that little bit of flexibility when the door's open. We're also going to put two small plug welds just in here so we can weld it to this flitch panel prior to taking this jig off once we know everything's in the right place. So that's what we're going to do now. We're not overly concerned where these plug welds are because this will be spotted again afterwards. It's just a case of making a couple. And then with this all bolted and solid, there we go, one up here. Three lines I've just marked across. This is where we're going to drill our holes so we can weld the two pieces together. These aftermarket panels come with some black paint on, which they use to rust proof them when they're in storage. We have found that it does have a tendency to flake off. So we've sanded all the paint off and covered it with etching primer, weld through primer on the back where the two pieces are going to be spotted together. Next job, we've got two small holes which we've drilled in the front, which we're going to plug weld, and we've got our three holes which we've drilled in the inner piece, which we're also going to plug weld. Once we've done those, we can remove the jig and then we can spot weld completely along this side. So let's crack on with that. Well, now we've got the plug welds done, cleaned off a little bit. There's a little bit of filling needs to be done afterwards, but it's on and secure. We've removed the jig from the back. Now we know everything's in the right place, and so it's time to spot weld down this end.
When you are spot welding, it's really important to make sure that the contact areas are spotlessly clean. Fully spot welded and a coat of etch primer.
Well, I was going to give some over elaborate explanation of just exactly what's occurred, but I think I'm going to let it speak for itself. Today we're going to look at the jacking point. So we're going to cut a section of this top step out, run a line down here and take this section of the sill out so we can access what's underneath. There's also a small section of the floor that we need to weld, so we're going to do that while we're there. So let's crack on with that. Grinders out.
As you can see, there is some corrosion on the inner sill, so we're going to remove this section and we're going to try and do that without damaging the cross member behind it.
That's the last bit of the floor cut out. I'm going to make and weld a new piece in here now, and then I can get the new jacking point on. Got this leftover piece of floor pan from what we've already done. I'm going to use this because it already comes with the shape to create the piece to replace that middle section. Got this piece ready to weld in now. I'll take a little prying at the bottom just to keep it in position whilst I'm welding. So having finished and cleaned up that floor repair, we've coated it with weld-through primer, cleaned up the jacking point, bit of weld-through primer on the surfaces. Let's get that welded on. Although the spot welds have done what they're supposed to do, we are trying to go through 3 pieces of metal. Because of the tabs on the end of the cross member where they meet the inside floor, we're trying to spot weld 3 pieces of metal together there. And although it has done its job, we're just going to put a little run on, just for our own peace of mind more than anything else.
Well, that's the jacking point complete, and as you can see, positioned, spot welded, done a couple of extra welds on the outside for security, and primed, and that's ready to go. So that's it for this one. We'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.